Let's be brutally honest. Most men don't realize they're wasting time on women who secretly drain their worth. She may look perfect. She may say all the right things. But underneath the charm, something feels off. You feel like you're chasing approval you shouldn't need, walking on eggshells just to keep her interested. That uneasy feeling you've been ignoring, that's your intuition trying to warn you. Because deep down, you can sense when a woman is low value, even if she hides it well. And let me make this clear. When I say low value, I'm not talking about money, looks, or status. I'm talking about character, about emotional maturity, about the kind of energy that either builds you up or quietly breaks you down. A low-value woman drains your purpose, questions your confidence, and punishes your peace, all while pretending she's the prize. You see, she operates from insecurity, masked as power. She uses attention, drama, or manipulation as currency. She'll test your boundaries, play with your emotions, and expect you to chase, not because she's irresistible, but because she's afraid of being unseen. A man who doesn't know these signs ends up trapped in her emotional web, confused, resentful, and slowly losing his edge. So let's expose what she hides. The first sign of a low-value woman is constant validation hunger. She's addicted to attention, not affection. You'll notice it in how she always needs reassurance that she's beautiful, that you still want her, that she's different from other women. Her social media is her oxygen. Likes, comments, attention from men she doesn't even respect. She doesn't feel complete unless she's being admired. And here's the dangerous part. When you stop feeding her ego, she'll make you the villain. Suddenly you're distant, cold, or not the man she thought you were. But in reality, she's just terrified of facing herself without applause. The second sign is emotional chaos. She turns every disagreement into a test of loyalty, every silence into punishment, every small issue into a war zone. You'll find yourself apologizing for things you didn't even do, just to restore peace. That's not love. That's control disguised as passion. She thrives on emotional volatility because drama gives her attention, and peace makes her irrelevant. The third sign is disrespect in subtle forms. Talking down to you, making jokes at your expense, comparing you to her ex, or acting superior when things go wrong. A low-value woman doesn't respect masculine boundaries. She sees your patience as weakness, your calm as indifference. And when you finally pull away, she'll say, "You've changed." No. You just stop tolerating her emotional immaturity. You must understand this truth. A woman's value to your life isn't measured by how beautiful she looks beside you. It's measured by how peaceful she makes you feel when no one's watching. So if you constantly feel anxious, drained, or uncertain around her, that's not love. That's emotional manipulation wrapped in attraction. And if you've been through this, if you've felt your confidence crumble because of one woman's emotional chaos, it's not your fault. Society doesn't teach men how to protect their worth. But today, that changes. You're not meant to chase validation. You're meant to embody value. The kind of value that doesn't beg to be respected, it commands it. Because when a man knows his worth, a low-value woman can't survive in his presence. She'll either rise to meet him or fade into irrelevance. And maybe that's why you're here. Not to fix women, but to finally understand what kind of energy you should never again let close to your heart. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal next could save you from years of wasted time, emotional pain, and silent regret. The second hidden sign of a low-value woman is her relationship with accountability. She avoids it like the plague. Every failure, every argument, every broken promise somehow becomes your fault, or her ex's, or the universe not being fair. She lives in a cycle of blame, never reflection. You'll hear things like, "I just have bad luck with men," or "I guess I attract the wrong people." No, she chooses the wrong people because growth would force her to face herself. Low-value women fear mirrors, not the kind that show their reflection, but the emotional ones that reveal their patterns. When a man holds her accountable, she feels attacked. When he sets boundaries, she calls it control. When he pulls away to protect his peace, she calls it abandonment. And that's because deep down, she's not ready for love. She's addicted to attention disguised as connection. She doesn't want partnership. She wants power through sympathy. She'll use emotional pain like a weapon, crying about how everyone leaves or how no one understands her. And you, being the empathetic man you are, feel compelled to save her. But remember this, you can't save someone who benefits from being broken. A high-value woman takes responsibility. She reflects, learns, adapts. A low-value woman avoids reflection because growth threatens her comfort zone. And comfort is her addiction. She'll stay in toxic patterns as long as she can control the narrative. Now here's something most men miss. A low-value woman tests your self-worth, not through direct words, but through behavior. She'll disrespect small boundaries to see how much you'll tolerate. She'll flirt with other men just for fun. She'll cancel plans, ignore calls, or go silent for days, just to see if you'll chase. These aren't random actions. They're subconscious tests. She's measuring whether your need for her attention outweighs your self-respect. The moment you react emotionally, get jealous, start over-explaining, or beg for communication, she gains control. Not because she's powerful, but because you've placed your emotional state in her hands. That's the trap. A low-value woman feeds off your reaction. Every time you try to prove your worth, she confirms her illusion of dominance. But here's the truth. Silence, not reaction, disarms manipulation. When you stop giving energy to chaos, her power collapses. She doesn't know how to operate in peace. Peace exposes her lack of depth. That's why calm men scare low-value women, because you can't control a man who's not afraid to walk away. And maybe that's your lesson here, not to fear losing her, but to fear losing yourself trying to keep her. When you're with a low-value woman, love feels like anxiety. You spend more time fixing problems than building peace. You question your worth after every argument, wondering if you're enough. But here's what you must remember. Your value was never up for negotiation. She didn't break you. She revealed where you still needed boundaries. And once you see that clearly, you stop trying to convince her of your worth. You simply live in it. A man grounded in his self-respect becomes emotionally untouchable. He's not cold, he's centered. He doesn't chase, he attracts. He doesn't argue, he observes. And when a woman of low value tries to play emotional chess, he's already 10 moves ahead because he knows his peace is priceless. So if you've been carrying guilt for walking away, let it go. Protecting your energy isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Because one day, when you meet a woman who brings peace instead of pain, you'll realize walking away from chaos was never a loss. It was the start of becoming the kind of man no low-value woman could ever manipulate again. There's a certain kind of woman who seems magnetic at first, confident, playful, mysterious, but over time, something begins to feel strange. You start to notice that every conversation somehow circles back to her. Her problems, her goals, her emotions, her past. You become her therapist, her cheerleader, her emotional sponge, while she gives almost nothing back. That's the third hidden sign of a low-value woman, emotional selfishness disguised as vulnerability. She knows how to look soft, how to cry at the right moment, how to talk about her pain in a way that pulls your empathy right out of you. But it's not connection she's after. It's control through compassion. Every time you comfort her, she's not building a bond. She's reinforcing her power, because now you feel responsible for her emotions. You stop talking about your own struggles because you don't want to upset her. You start holding back your needs because you're afraid she'll pull away. Bit by bit, you begin to disappear, and she doesn't even notice. That's the danger of emotional selfishness. It's subtle. You won't see it in arguments or grand gestures. You'll feel it in the quiet moments, when your peace slowly starts to vanish. And here's the truth few men ever realize. You can't build a relationship with someone who uses emotions as leverage. A high-value woman shares her feelings to create closeness. A low-value woman shares her feelings to control closeness. There's a difference. One opens up to grow with you, the other opens up to make you chase her healing. If you've ever felt exhausted trying to make things right when you didn't even do anything wrong, that's emotional selfishness at work. She wants empathy without accountability, loyalty without respect, and attention without effort. and you'll keep giving because it feels like love. But it's not love. It's emotional dependency cleverly dressed as intimacy. This kind of woman will convince you that her chaos is passion, that her drama means she cares deeply. But peace isn't boring. Peace is maturity. Chaos is not love. It's manipulation in disguise. And if you stay too long in that dynamic, something inside you begins to change. You become reactive. You question your worth. You start chasing the version of her that only existed at the start, that warm, attentive, fun version who made you feel alive. But that version wasn't real. It was bait. Once she feels secure that she has your emotions, she relaxes into her true self. The one that takes, tests, and never truly gives back. That's why emotionally selfish women always say, "You've changed." What they mean is, "You've stopped feeding me." But you can't heal in a space that drains you. You can't grow when your peace is constantly on trial. A relationship should make you feel stronger, not smaller. So ask yourself, does she add to your energy or take from it? Does she build your focus or break your peace? A man becomes powerful when he stops rewarding emotional chaos with attention, because attention is currency, and you get to decide who earns it. When you learn to withhold energy from people who only take, you stop repeating painful cycles. You stop mistaking pain for passion, and you begin to attract women who give without games, who listen without ego, and who stand beside you, not above you. Remember this: peace is not a reward you earn after suffering. It's a standard you enforce through self-respect. And once you hold that standard, every low-value woman disappears from your life. Not because you chase them away, but because they can't breathe in the presence of true confidence. There's a silence most men don't talk about, the one that creeps in after the excitement fades. When the games, the drama, the constant emotional highs start to wear thin, and you realize she doesn't actually see you. Not the man you are, not your effort, not your soul. That's the fourth hidden sign of a low-value woman. She values what you provide more than who you are. At first it feels flattering. She admires your drive, your confidence, your ambition. But over time, that admiration turns into expectation. Suddenly, your worth in her eyes depends on what you do, not who you are. She loves you when you're winning, when you're making her feel special, solving her problems, providing stability. But when you stop performing, her interest fades. She doesn't love you. She loves the benefits of being loved by you. You'll notice she's only affectionate when things go her way. When she gets attention, gifts, validation, she's radiant. But when life gets tough, or when you set a boundary, she becomes cold, distant, sometimes even cruel. She uses affection as a reward and withdrawal as punishment. That's not partnership. That's manipulation through selective love. A high-value woman stands beside you when life tests you. A low-value woman stands behind you when it benefits her and disappears when it doesn't. You'll see this in the small things: the lack of curiosity about your struggles, the way she dismisses your goals, or how she tunes out when you talk about something that doesn't revolve around her. Her love is transactional, not emotional. And the sad truth? Many men mistake that kind of woman for supportive because she praises them when they're useful. But that's not love. That's performance-based validation. A man begins to lose himself when he confuses being needed for being valued. She'll make you believe that your worth depends on how well you can keep her happy. That's how you end up overextending, giving, fixing, proving, until you wake up one day and realize you're exhausted. Because real love shouldn't feel like a job you can get fired from. And when you finally pull away, when you stop chasing and start choosing yourself, she'll panic. Not because she loves you, but because her source of attention is slipping away. She'll suddenly act sweet again, pretend to miss you, even apologize, not to heal the relationship, but to reset her control. That's when you must remember, consistency reveals truth. A woman who truly values you doesn't change with your level of attention. She's steady. She respects your silence, not just your words. She supports your mission, not just her comfort. Here's what separates the strong from the lost. A strong man doesn't measure his worth by who chooses him. He measures it by who respects his peace enough to stay without control. So stop believing you're too much when a woman pulls away after you set a boundary. That's not rejection. That's exposure. You didn't scare her off. You revealed she wasn't ready for a man with standards. The right woman will never make you question your value. She'll mirror it. She'll protect your energy the same way you protect hers. Because when you operate from peace, your presence becomes rare, and rarity commands respect. A man grounded in his purpose, selective with his energy, and unwilling to negotiate his worth doesn't chase. He attracts women who are built for his level, not those threatened by it. And that's the secret no one tells you. When you stop trying to prove your value, the wrong ones lose interest, and the right one finally appears. The final hidden sign of a low-value woman is something that disguises itself as strength, ego-driven independence. On the surface, it looks powerful. She says things like, "I don't need a man, I can do everything myself," or "Men are too weak to handle me." But if you listen closely, her words aren't coming from confidence, they're coming from pain. She's not independent, she's emotionally armored. Somewhere in her past, she equated vulnerability with weakness, and now she uses pride as protection. This kind of woman doesn't want partnership. She wants control. She doesn't connect. She competes. Every time you try to lead, she resists. Every time you offer peace, she provokes conflict. She'll test your strength not because she respects masculinity, but because she fears surrendering to it. In her mind, trust equals danger. So she creates emotional distance, hides behind sarcasm, and treats relationships like a power struggle instead of a shared bond. And yet, she still wants love. She just doesn't know how to receive it without control. That's the tragedy of low-value energy. It destroys the very connection it craves. You'll notice this when she minimizes your emotions. When you open up, she mocks your vulnerability. When you talk about your purpose, she shifts the focus back to herself. When you set a standard, she calls you controlling. Everything becomes a battle, and you're always the one defending your masculinity instead of expressing it. A man who stays in that dynamic begins to shrink. He doubts his instincts. He suppresses his natural leadership. He starts to believe that strength and peace can't coexist. But the truth is, real men don't need to dominate, and real women don't need to compete. The right relationship is not a power struggle. It's an alignment. Low-value women can't create that alignment because they're still fighting ghosts from their past, men who betrayed them, fathers who weren't present, validation they never received. But here's the critical part. Their wounds are not your responsibility to fix. Your purpose is not to heal brokenness that refuses to heal itself. Your purpose is to protect your mission, your peace, and your direction, because when you elevate your standards, you stop attracting emotional chaos. And maybe this is what you needed to hear tonight. You are not hard to love. You've just been loving women who don't know how to receive love without control. Your value isn't something you earn. It's something you embody. It's in your calm, your purpose, your silence when others seek reaction. It's in your ability to walk away from what doesn't align, no matter how attractive it looks. Because discipline in love is the highest form of self-respect. When you start living from that truth, you attract women who are healed, feminine, and emotionally grounded. Women who don't compete with your masculinity, but complement it. They bring peace, not performance. They communicate, not manipulate. They grow with you, not drain you. And that's when you finally realize the journey was never about avoiding bad women. It was about becoming the kind of man who only attracts high-value energy, because like attracts like. A peaceful man draws peace, a grounded man attracts loyalty, and a man who knows his worth can never be trapped by someone who doesn't know hers. So if you've recognized any of these signs in your life, don't respond with anger. Respond with clarity. Choose peace over chaos, growth over games, standards over sympathy. And remember this, protecting your energy doesn't make you heartless. It makes you wise. Question for you. Which of these signs have you ignored in your past, and what did it teach you about yourself? Share your truth in the comments below. Your story could wake another man up tonight. If this video spoke to you, give it a like. Subscribe for more deep truths about female psychology and masculine power. And share this with a friend who needs to hear it, because one right insight can save years of pain.